Good evening, everybody. We're here for the first race of the JSRA Rowing Association Summer Series. Tonight we're looking at pretty good conditions out there. Overall, the wind has died down a bit. We're looking at a light south-southeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles an hour with an outgoing tide. Expecting this race to be super competitive. What I would look for here tonight is the competitors to really look for the deep water in the middle of the channel on the way out. And then as they turn the buoy outside coming back, you're going to look for them to hug the edges along the south side. Definitely going to be super competitive. These guys have been gunning all year for this race, and the first one always kind of figure out where they are in their season. So we're looking forward to a great race. Looking for some exciting action here in the Shark River Row, the first race of the JSRA Rowing Association Summer Series.
We're gonna draw for lanes 1 to 9. So 1 will be south, 9 will be north.
Okay, looks like the lane draw has taken place and the boats are assembling at the start line for the beginning of the race.
Get ready!
As the rowers come off the start line, you can see them rowing at a super high tempo. What they're trying to do here is just get out to a fast start and clear the crowd. Most of them are probably rowing at about a 30 to 32, even higher stroke rate per minute. Once they get into the later part of the race, they'll probably settle into more of a rating in the range of about 26 to 28 strokes. But right now, they're turning that tempo up and trying to get out in front and avoid the collisions. Talking to the crews before the race, one thing they are all trying to accomplish is get out to a fast start. Early on, you can start to see a few boats separate. Here we can see early on 2 boats already tangled up in the back. That's really going to be tough for those 2 to get back into this race as everybody else just rows away. Early on, you can start to see a few boats separate themselves, and what you'll see here is some of the back markers will start to draft off the boats in front of them, really trying to conserve their energy and use the front boats to kind of set the tempo. Early on here, you can see Dave Healy and Pat Clements in the red boat have really separated themselves from the pack, probably about a 2 boat length lead early on. And they're driving for that first piling where they're going to make a left shoulder turn, trying to avoid any crash and bash with all the other boats behind them. You can see Dave and Pat have a nice lead, and they'll be able to get around this first piling nice and clean, while all the other boats are going to come and congest right at that pinch point as they come around that first. Coming up on the first turn at the set of pilings, you're going to see all the rowers start to pull pretty heavy on that right oar. Dave and Pat have a clear advantage here as they're coming around clean. Back behind, it's going to be tight. They're going to be really fighting for space, and they're going to have to be strong on their oars. Looks like everybody's pretty clean coming around there. Before the race, I had an opportunity to catch up with the Bugman, a former rowing partner of mine. We won a national championship on the Apex course way back in California, probably 15 years ago. So let's hear what Bug had to say before the race. All right, I'm here with Bug for the first race of the summer series for the JSRA. I'm sure it's a little bit of nervousness here with the first race of the season. How you feeling about things?
Feeling really good. Little butterflies always before a race, so it's great. It's just the rowers this year, it's a very tight pack. There's at least 10 boats that are right neck and neck, so it's going to be an interesting series. In this course, there's a couple turns and a couple places where you can make some moves, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Looks like the conditions have settled down a little bit from where it was early this morning. It was blowing at about 10 to 15 northeast, kind of swung around to the southeast here and really settled down. Looks like to me it's going to be pretty much a drag race to that first buoy.
Absolutely, I agree, Matt. It's going to be a fast start. Everybody's in it for the first mile for sure, and then it starts to taper off. So we'll see where everyone lies.
Great.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and I'm sure this is going to give you kind of a benchmark as to where you are in your season, and hopefully get things off to a good start.
Yeah, absolutely, because during training season, there's only a couple boats that we're rowing with, and it's good to see where the whole pack's going to be, so it's going to be interesting. So it's going to be a nice level.
All right, man. Well, best of luck out there tonight. Go get them.
Yeah, all right.
And we can see as we come down this back stretch of Seaview Island, It's already started to separate with our leaders in the red boat holding about a 2-boat length advantage, followed by a pack and then a second pack further behind. Going to be really tough for those guys in the back to make up the ground here, as it's pretty tight through this early section of the race. You can see Jack and BK have really closed the gap on Dave here. It's down to about a boat length or less, and what they're trying to do here is really just ride the tail of Dave and Pat and let them kind of break the water for them. As we're coming along the backside of Seaview Island here, you can see Jack and BK in the blue boat starting to make a move on the east side. What they're probably trying to do here is get up on Dave's and Pat's stern as they come to that second turning marker where they're going to make a right shoulder turn around a red buoy and head for the open water. Coming across the back here, you can really see where everybody start to stretch their stroke out a little bit. The stroke rating has slowed down slightly from what you saw right off the start. Just about to make the right turn on the red buoy here. Looks like Dave is going to take a little bit more of a southerly line, whereas BK and Jack have started to head a little bit more on a northerly line. It'll be interesting to see with the outgoing current which boat has the advantage here. Probably a little shallower water on the northern line, a little deeper on the southern line. Just on the southern line, you're going to be rowing a little bit longer. It'll be interesting to see how it stacks out as they come towards the Route 35 bridge. Looks like Jack and BK have really started to make a move on that northern line. Doesn't look like water depth is a factor across the back here as they've started to actually pull into the lead. Looks like they've got about a boat length on Dave and Pat right now. As we head out into the ocean, BK and Jack continuing to maintain about a boat length lead. Dave and Pat not giving up. They're really trying to hold that stern and ride the wake of the boat in front of them. As we move back further, we can see third and fourth in a pretty tight battle, about half a boat length there, and then 2 boat lengths back to fifth and sixth. So pretty tight action here as we head into the ocean. This is where we'll start to see some separation as the conditions get a little bit tougher with a little bit of chop, a little bit of swell, and also trying to mark where that buoy is offshore. A lot of chop, a little bit of wind. These guys are really going to have to concentrate on their stroke and make sure that they're really feathering their oars on those recoveries to avoid catching any crabs and really slowing their momentum down. As we head out into the ocean, BK and Jack continuing to maintain about a boat length lead. Dave and Pat not giving up. They're really trying to hold that stern and ride the wake of the boat in front of them. Things will get a lot more challenging for these crews as they head out into the ocean. Before the race, I had a chance to catch up with BK Kipnis and talk a little bit about the preseason preparation and the start of the season. Let's hear what BK had to say. So BK, I know you're rowing with Jack Green out there tonight. You guys have been putting in a lot of miles over the winter. How you feeling about the first race?
We feel good. We had a little warm-up row yesterday, first time in the summer seats. A little chilly. It's definitely not quite like Florida, but we're ready to go.
And what's the strategy here today? What are you guys looking to do in terms of how you're going to approach the race?
Get out in front and stay in front.
Yeah, I know it's going to be a bit of a drag race to that first buoy. Usually, kind of sort things out at that point in time. Long race, a little over 5 miles or just on 5 miles. Looks like it's going to be pretty open on the way out with an outgoing current, and then kind of tighten up a little bit on the way back. You know, what are you guys looking to do? You going to take it out strong, or are you going to hold back and then try and finish strong?
Well, you know, with the outgoing tide, boats tend to stick together. With the outgoing tide, when you're going against the tide, that's where the separation usually occurs. So, I mean, we're definitely not going to try and kill ourselves to create that separation going out, but we do want to control the pack and hopefully have a lead, so that way we can have a nice clean turn going into it and hopefully have a breakaway coming back in.
All right, great. And I know there's multiple Ocean Grove boats out there tonight. You guys have really been establishing yourself as one of the top teams locally. What do you think of your cruise tonight?
Honestly, first of all, super proud of it. I came over to Ocean Grove in 2020. It was one of the things that they were looking to build, was get more rowers on the scene, and not just already established rowers, but new rowers too. I mean, to have one, two, I think 3 Ocean Grove boats, and that's freaking awesome. So really pumped on it.
Cool. Well, looking forward to watching you guys race. Best of luck out there tonight.
Thanks, Matty.
Great overhead shot of the lead boats coming into the turning buoy here. You can see Jack and BK just making that turn. There they go. They're dipping that left oar. They're pulling hard on that right. And Dave and Pat right behind them. Nicely executed turn by Jack and BK. Looks like Dave's struggling a little bit to get around that turn. They've separated to about a 4 to 5 boat length lead. So that quickly you can go from 1 boat length to about 4 or 5. Here comes our 3rd and 4th place boats. They're sitting probably about 10 to 15 boat lengths behind, and 4th, 5th, 6th, pretty tightly packed. This turn is going to play a big role in determining where they are heading back to shore. Looks like Russ and John turning 3rd, followed by Bug and Tim, although looks like Bug and Tim might have missed the buoy. They're turning back and going around again. That's going to open up the door for Derek and Paul to move into 4th place. So we got a pretty tight battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. You can see Jack and BK really starting to stretch things out here, and they're upping their tempo every time the swell comes. They're trying to get that bow heading downhill and really work those swells. One thing these guys are really trying to do here on the ocean is keep that stroke in unison, rowing together. The more they can apply power consistently, it's going to keep that boat moving forward. And you can see them really here working these swells, turning up the tempo every single time that swell comes underneath them, trying to keep that bow downhill, get that stern up high, and really ride down those swells. You can really see how Jack is following BK's stroke here and keeping them in unison, really trying to apply the power consistently together. These guys are sliding on these seats. They're using some lubrication. They're fixed seats. So they're driving off their legs on every single stroke, not just pulling with their arms, but initiating with their legs and really trying to take advantage of the power in their legs. Jack and BK beginning to stretch out their lead as they head west back into the Shark River Inlet. These guys will be happy to get off the ocean. Things will start to calm down from a condition standpoint, and they can start to focus in on stretching their stroke out. They do have to remain conscientious of staying on that south side and hug it up against the wall just because of that outflowing current. I had a chance before the race to catch up with one of the new additions to the Ocean Grove rowing team, Paul Kasner. Let's hear what Paul had to say pre-race. Paul, I know a lot of prep and build up to this first race of the season. How you feeling about things?
Feeling good. Beautiful conditions tonight. We're lucky. You know, there's some swell, which will definitely make it entertaining once we get out there. So try to avoid any collisions on the way out, and everything should be pretty smooth.
Right, and you and Derek, your partner, have traditionally been one of the top teams. You guys expecting to be fighting it out for the top spot tonight?
Hoping for top three, but you know, a lot of people have been training for the entire winter. People putting in the miles, putting in the extra cardio. So it's really anybody's game tonight. So it should be a good season, and this race should be a good one to kick it off.
All right, well, best of luck out there tonight. I'll be looking for you guys. Looks like we've had a change of positioning in third and fourth. Paul and Derek have moved up into third, and Russ and John in fourth. And you can see these guys struggling a little bit, fighting against that current to hold that line against the rocks there. Tight battle back for fifth, sixth, and seventh. Just back through the Route 35 bridge, and you can see the water is much calmer here in the back part of the inlet. The wind has really died down, and these guys are probably very happy about that after those couple minutes out on the ocean. Jack and BK look like they've stretched their lead out to at least about 15 boat lengths. At this point in time, they're just trying to stay clean, not make any mistakes, and continue to build on the lead that they've made. Coming back into the back part of the inlet here, these guys are heading for that red buoy where they turned earlier. This time they're going to make a left shoulder turn and head across the backside of Seaview Island. Nice lead for Jack and BK. Still Dave and Pat in second, and it looks like Derek and Paul still holding down the third position. Jack and BK continuing to build on their lead as we come off the south side of Seaview Island, heading towards the red turning buoy. You're going to see these guys start to lock in on that buoy and really just trying to stay clean here, avoid any collisions with the buoy, broken oar blades, things like that. At this point in time, they have a big enough lead that they just want to be safe. You can see them approaching the buoy here. They'll start to pull on their right oar. Nice clean turn there, heading north on the backside of Seaview Island. And they'll just try to get into a nice stroke here, keep things relaxed, calm, as they have that nice lead heading down this stretch here. As we start to get a little bit of an overhead shot here, you can see how these guys really are in unison with their stroke. What they're trying to do is apply power consistently together and keep that boat moving along, looking good. Dave and Pat holding down second as they make the left shoulder turn, heading north on the backside of Seaview Island. Dave is going to be really aware of course here, making sure to hold a good line and just paying attention to following along with Pat's stroke. At this point in time, they're just trying to maintain that distance between them and the third place boat. Nice clean stroke. You can see the conditions have really calmed down, and these guys can just focus on continuing to move that boat forward. Paul and Derek in third, followed by John and Russ in fourth, and then a battle between 3 boats for 5th through 7th. Billy and Jeff in the white, Tim and Bug in the black, and Jamie and John in the orange. You can see these guys fighting for position as they head north on the backside of Seaview Island. Glassy conditions on the bay here as Jack and BK continue to hold a big lead heading into the final turn. You can see Jack in the bow turning around to spot the pilings for the final turn into the home stretch. Look for Jack and BK to take a wide turn to avoid tangling with the turning mark. They will be focusing on maintaining a comfortable stroke rate down the final straightaway. Looking at about a 30-second gap back to Dave and Pat in second as they head into the final turn. Into the last 100 meters, Jack and BK look relaxed and in perfect unison, taking out the first race of the JSRA Summer Series. Your 2024 Shark River Road champs, Jack Green and BK Kipnis of Ocean Grove. And you can look for these guys to be in the yellow jerseys when the second race of the JSRA Summer Series takes place next Friday in Shrewsbury. And here comes your second place team, Dave Healy and Pat Clemens. Great early season start for these guys. I'm sure they'll be excited about the finish and looking to build on it next week in the Shrewsbury Row. Your third place finishers, Paul Kasner and Derek Wanner. Strong fourth place finish for John Ryan from Ocean Grove and Russ Gieweiler from Palm Beach County in Florida. Good to see the Florida guys coming up and taking their shot at a race here in Monmouth County. Tight battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th here as we come to the line. Looks like Bill George and Jeff Mandel across the line in 5th, followed by Bug and Tim Kortenhouse in 6th, and Jamie Doyle and John Quinn in 7th. Good to go. All right, I'm here with your winners of the Shark River Row, the first race of the JSRA Summer Series, Jack Green and BK Kipnis. So guys, look like you guys got off to a pretty good start there. That race to that first barrel looks like you had the northern side of the channel. We got a clean run around the buoy. What'd you guys think?
So Dave Dave was out like a rocket. And I looked over, I saw him going, I saw a couple. Everyone else was kind of right there. You know, coming into the piling, we just tried to stay clean, explode out, because I knew, you know, a hard 10 after that. And then we were able to kind of separate and start gaining. By the next turn, we were in Dave's draft, and that's where we made our move. Out of that second turn, managed to get the lead, and we just held it down.
Yeah, BK, looked like once you guys got down towards the ocean, you kind of made a break and started to go from there.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like what I talked about before. I mean, the goal was just to get out in front going out, because going with the tide, boats tend to stay together. And we knew that we wanted to make our move coming back in against that tide. And I mean, navigating the swell, I feel like we did really, really well. And yeah, I was stoked on it.
And then Jack, you're in the bow coming back, you know, you're really hugging that south side of the channel, all about staying clean and not making any mistakes. How do you feel on that back section?
Well, I was aiming a little south because I knew we wanted to get as close to the jetty as possible. We were able to pick up on a couple swells, and we threw a gap there. We threw probably like a 2-3 boat length gap, and that was big, because once we got that gap, then we were able to get them out of there.
Yeah, it seems like once you guys got the lead, you really started to stretch it on the back half. So how you feeling first race of the summer? You got a victory under your belt. Looking forward to that second race?
Oh yeah.
Can't wait.
All right, guys, congratulations. Winners of your first race, the Shark River Row for the JSRA Summer Series.
First race of the season, Shark River Row. We have a special guest, Russ, in from Florida. He's going to hand out the awards.
All right, here we go. We had a great race tonight, and we got in third place, Derek and Paul. Good race. Thank you. I'm pissed you guys just out, but fuck you. All right, that's a nice thing to say. Second place, Pat, Dave. Woohoo!
So tall.
And first place, BK, Jack.
Dave, you get a time?